Hey friends, I'm intimacy coach Leah Carey, and this is Lara O'Connor, whose name you know from the podcast. Lara, I'm thrilled to have you here to talk today about Bachelor in Paradise, episode 2. As a quick reminder, we are not here to recap the show, to make judgments about anybody's decisions that they're making, but rather to look at their interactions and talk about their communication styles and the ways that they handle conflict, things like that. So, Lara, why don't you get us started?
Well, let's talk about Demi, because everybody loves to talk about Demi, including Demi.
That is the truth.
I was so struck by her kiss with Brendan, her whole interaction with Brendan, the whole thing. But the part where she goes in and he is just like, and then like afterwards quickly says, I'd like to keep my options open. And the way that he said it about Demi was, did she set my soul on fire? No. And what really struck me, especially how Demi walked in and talked about herself and talked, I look fine as fuck. And yes, she did. And of course, Demi is the gold standard in our culture. She is skinny, she is blonde, she is shiny, she is a little perfect thing. And she knows she's a little perfect thing. And she treats it like currency, like she is a walking gold Amex card. And she expected to slap that thing down on the counter and get any purse she wanted. And she didn't. And I think of all of the people out there who don't look like Demi, which is most of us, who think nobody's ever going to want to kiss me like that, or I'm not going to set anybody's soul on fire. And just for everybody who does not wake up looking like Demi, here you go. You don't have to set somebody's soul on fire.
Yeah. Yeah. Because even though she does look like that, it still didn't get her the guy that she wanted.
Well, and it didn't translate into there being something there. There is actually something more that people are looking for. There's got to be something inside the box. And for Brendan, there was nothing inside the shiny box. And that's okay, because for everybody else who does not have a shiny box, trust that you have something inside that somebody wants and that they will kiss you to find.
Yes, I love that.
Even if you don't look like Demi.
Yeah, right. The other thing that really struck me about that whole thing with Demi is that she came in with a date card. She chose the guy she wanted, and then she acted as though he owed her something for having chosen him. Yeah. And I think something that I hear, actually, this comes up in client conversations and in my DMs a lot. Is it okay for me to go out with them if I'm not sure that I like them? Yes, that is the point of dating. I mean, if you grew up in purity culture, you got the message that you don't date someone unless you already know you want to marry them, which is ridiculous. The whole point of dating is to get to know somebody, to see how your conversation is, to see how your energy interacts, to see if you enjoy kissing them. You don't know that until you've been on the date. So taking somebody out with the expectation that they now owe you a relationship is backwards. And if the genders were reversed, we would absolutely say you don't owe him anything for having taken you out.
Yeah. I also could totally tell that she was not interested in anything other than the confirmation of her value. That's what she was mad about not getting. It's really just the classic looks aren't everything. You know, and it was just nice to see it played out, like, undeniably. This is not an interpretation. This is not anecdotal evidence. We saw her flat get turned down. Yeah. After parading her shiny self. You know, not to be hard on Demi. She's a human, loving compassion.
Thank you for bringing that up. The body language thing that I thought was hilarious. Connor got so much shit on Katie's season because he always grabbed the back of her head and he just like had his hands all over her. Yeah. And in this case, he had a glass in his hand And I wonder if that was intentional on his part so that he wouldn't have his hands in her hair.
I think he doesn't know what to do anyway.
Well, that's possible, but I actually wonder if he's retraining himself to not put his hands all over a girl's head.
Cognitive behavioral therapy, do not maul your kissing partner. Cat lesson 101.
I have to say that if I'm into somebody, I want their hands on my head. I want their hands all up in my hair.
Pull me in.
Yes.
Yes.
But,
yes.
you know, Katie and some other people who are watching that season are not that person. So cool, for each their own. Let's talk about Tammy. I know you had some thoughts.
I really wonder what she wants. And this is another person trying to like use behavior as currency and use her sexual power as currency. And she is so happy to get Aaron after he kisses Serena to reassert her dominance. And she even says, it's really nice to have the nicest trophy on the block that everyone else wants. And I just wonder, like, Tammy, what do you actually want? What are you actually trying to buy? Like, if you take that trophy home and put it on the couch next to you, what are you going to do with it? What does your actual life look like? Are you having a nice time if all you're doing is powering over people and trying to measure this fluctuating value dominance thing?
Yeah, great.
What fun is that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they don't want fun. Maybe they need the currency. Maybe they need the reassurance. But that's just really what I thought when she said that. Like, what the fuck are you going to do with it when you take it home?
Yeah. And
it's going to be boring.
I think that your point about maybe they do want the currency is a sad commentary on how what we tell women their currency is in this culture, which is your currency is your looks, your hotness. And there are women who grew up in really hot bodies with really gorgeous faces who they truly believe that is their only currency.
It's what made Demi cry. And you see that real panic within her. Like, and we saw it again back in Colton's season when Colton rejected her and she had the same complete internal meltdown that she couldn't cover. I don't think those were fake tears. I really don't. I think she was really upset. Because what else does she have to offer them? It was in her mind.
Yeah, not necessarily upset about that guy. Like the guy is sort of interchangeable. The upset
that panic
is about having been rejected because then what else does she have?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about the blow up between Tahzjuan and Victoria. And again, I want to preface this by saying I am not trying to make judgments. I'm not.
I am. It was nuts. But it was great.
What I really want to look at is how some of this stuff was languaged, because I think that this can be really useful. I think that they both bear a lot of responsibility for the fact that there was no effective communication going on here. With that said, I don't think there's anything that Tahzjuan could have said that would have allowed Victoria to come in with open communication, because Victoria is not in that place. And that's what I want to look at, where Victoria is. So just to be clear, effective communication does not mean saying your point as eloquently or as succinctly as possible. Effective communication means saying your point in a way that the other person can hear and receive it. There is no effective communication if the person on the other end of the communication isn't hearing and understanding what you're saying. So I don't think that there is anything Tahzjuan could have said that would have resulted in effective communication with Victoria, because she's just not going to hear it.
You're a little selfish.
I'm feeling that from you. So what can I do to help you resolve these emotions?
Okay. So Tahzjuan comes in and says, you're being selfish and self-centered. And Victoria's response is, I feel that coming from you. What can I do to help you move through that experience, or something like that?
Help you process that emotion.
Yeah. Victoria has been to therapy, or she has done some reading or watching some YouTubes about what good communication sounds like, and she's parroting it. But good Lord, the girl has no idea what she's saying. When someone comes to you and says, you are doing something that is really not okay with me, the response, I feel that coming off of you, how can I help you move through that experience, is absolutely not an appropriate response, because what you're doing is making it sound like it is entirely the other person's issue and that you have nothing, no involvement in the issue. The person is saying you have involvement. I am feeling like you are disrespecting me. And so to totally, flop that off and say, well, how can I help you move through that? It is calculated to make the other person feel invalidated. She had no interest in helping Tahzjuan through this experience unless it meant that she got to be the savior. If Tahzjuan's response had been, oh, thank you so much for asking, here's what, then Victoria would have gotten to be the hero.
I think Victoria is just trying to look innocent and get the fuck out. I don't think there was anything more to it than that.
But I think that the way that she uses language is instructive, because this is not, this is something that people do. They learn a few techniques.
Therapy speak.
And then they try to employ those in a stressful situation. And it becomes manipulative as opposed to helpful.
Yeah.
And I really want people to see this in action and understand what the dynamic is, because then you have the opportunity to recognize it when it's happening to you.
Yeah. It's like therapy lighting. Like there's gaslighting and there's mood lighting, and now we have therapy lighting.
Oh, TM. Lara,
I'll take it.
Okay, that's it for today. We will be back with Bachelor in Paradise episode 3. And if you'd like to take any of the principles that you've heard today and implement them into your life and your communication, I offer personalized coaching for individuals and couples. And all of that info is at leahcarey.com/coaching. For more information and to schedule a discovery call, click the link in the video description. Lara, thank you so much. And we'll see you again for episode 3.